Duke Ellington. Edward Kennedy Duke Ellington was an American composer, pianist, and leader of his eponymous jazz orchestra from 1923 through the rest of his life. Born in Washington, D.C., Ellington was based in New York City from the mid-1920s and gained a national profile through his orchestra's appearances at the Cotton Club in Harlem. A master at writing miniatures for the 3-minute 78 revolutions per minute recording format, Ellington wrote or collaborated on more than 1,000 compositions. His extensive body of work is the largest recorded personal jazz legacy, and many of his pieces have become standards. He also recorded songs written by his bandsmen, such as Juan Tizal's Caravan, which brought a Spanish tinge to big band jazz. At the end of the 1930s, Ellington began a nearly 30-year collaboration with composer-arranger-pianist Billy Strayhorn, whom he called his writing and arranging companion. With Strayhorn, he composed multiple extended compositions, or suites, as well as many short pieces. For a few years at the beginning of Strayhorn's involvement, Ellington's orchestra featured bassist Jimmy Blanton and tenor saxophonist Ben Webster and reached a creative peak. Some years later, following a low-profile period, Hodges temporarily left. An appearance by Ellington and his orchestra at the Newport Jazz Festival in July 1956 led to a major revival and regular world tours. Ellington recorded for most American record companies of his era, performed in and scored several films, and composed a handful of stage musicals. Although a pivotal figure in the history of jazz, in the opinion of Gunther Schuller and Barry Kernfeld, the most significant composer of the genre, Ellington himself embraced the phrase beyond category, considering it a liberating principle, and referring to his music as part of the more general category of American music. Ellington was known for his inventive use of the orchestra, or big band, as well as for his eloquence and charisma. He was awarded a posthumous Pulitzer Prize Special Award for Music in 1999. Ellington was born on April 29, 1899, to James Edward Ellington and Daisy Kennedy Ellington in Washington, D.C. Both his parents were pianists. Daisy primarily played parlor songs, and James preferred operatic arias. They lived with Daisy's parents at 2129 Ida Place, now Ward Place, NW, in D.C.'s West End neighborhood. Duke's father was born in Lincolnton, North Carolina, on April 15, 1879, and moved to D.C. in 1886 with his parents. 8. Daisy Kennedy was born in Washington, D.C., on January 4, 1879, the daughter of 2 former American slaves. James Ellington made blueprints for the United States Navy. When Edward Ellington was a child, his family showed racial pride and support in their home, as did many other families. African Americans in D.C. worked to protect their children from the era's Jim Crow laws. At age 7, Ellington began taking piano lessons from Marietta Klingscales. Daisy surrounded her son with dignified women to reinforce his manners and teach him elegance. His childhood friends noticed that his casual, offhand manner and dapper dress gave him the bearing of a young nobleman, so they began calling him Duke. Ellington credited his friend Edgar McKenty for the nickname. "I think he felt that in order for me to be eligible for his constant companionship, I should have a title. So he called me Duke."